What's up, basketball fans? Welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, and today I'm breaking down the top 5 teams for LaMelo Ball in the 2020 NBA Draft. Now, LaMelo Ball played last season in the NBL and with New Zealand, the Illawarra Hawks. I think that's how you say their name. I could be totally off. You probably have to say it with an Australian accent, but we all know he is the second best player in this draft and by far the best point guard in this draft. Now, he's not a great shooter. He's not a very good defender at all, but at 6'7" with his length and his size, his ability to see the floor and pass over taller defenders gives him so much ability and such a high ceiling coming out of the draft, or coming into the 2020 NBA Draft. Now, you look at his per 36 numbers in New Zealand. He scored 19.6 points per game, 9 rebounds, dished out 8 assists, basically a triple-double machine, but his three-point percentage was not good at 25%. Now, if you guys want to see my big board, these are the top 5 players I have in the NBA Draft, and we can debate back and forth on whether or not maybe a James Wiseman deserves to sneak in there, but I think the top 2 are clear-cut. It's Anthony Edwards at 1, it's LaMelo Ball at 2, and then after that, kind of open for interpretation. I've got Deni Avdija at 3, but I think you could also argue for Onyeka Okongwu or Obi Toppin. So on this show, what I'm going to do, I'm not breaking down the most likely destination. I'm breaking down the best fits for LaMelo Ball and which teams within the top 10 will fit LaMelo Ball the best. Now, the ones that I have off of this list, I'm going to tell you why. Number 1, the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's not a perfect fit because they have D'Angelo Russell and they have Jarrett Culver. They don't really need a point guard there. Number 2, the Golden State Warriors. Even though I think if they keep the pick, they will draft him just because of talent alone. But when it comes to fit, you got the Splash Brothers in the backcourt. You don't really need LaMelo Ball. At number 5, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They've used 2 straight first-round draft picks on point guards in Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. Don't see them going with LaMelo here. Same with the Atlanta Hawks. They've got Trae Young, one of the best young point guards in the NBA, and Kevin Huerter, who's a good player. He's no LaMelo Ball, but LaMelo and Trae Young probably wouldn't work out very well. And then picking at number 9, even though they're probably too low for him anyway, the Washington Wizards have got John Wall coming back, and then, of course, Bradley Beal. I don't think they'll use that pick on any kind of guard like LaMelo Ball. I also don't think LaMelo Ball is going to be available at 9 anyway. So I showed you the 5 teams that I think aren't very good fits. Now I'm about to count down 5 to 1, which teams are the best fit for LaMelo, but I want you guys to shout it out in the comment section. If you're watching here later on YouTube, this will be our pinned comment, so all you have to do is scroll down and reply which team is the best fit for LaMelo in the 2020 NBA Draft. At number 5, I've got the Charlotte Hornets, who have the 3rd overall pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, where LaMelo Ball could very much be available. Now, why does this work? Why is this a good fit? Well, Charlotte doesn't have a true franchise player. They've got decent young pieces. They've got some young role players. They don't have a franchise star, and that is immediately what LaMelo Ball would become, and he would step into the backcourt and probably start over either Terry Rozier or Devontae Graham. Now, Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier, that's the only reasons this might not work, because you already have 2 guards and 2 guys that can both play the point guard position. But when there's a talent like LaMelo Ball available who's better than both of these guys right now, you got to take the risk. I would personally start LaMelo Ball in the backcourt with Devontae Graham and try to trade Terry Rozier or use him as more of a 6th man. Now, both these guys put up 18 points per game. Devontae Graham was a better playmaker at 7.5 assists per game, and they were both very, very strong three-point shooters. So let's say they make it happen. Let's say they draft LaMelo Ball at 3. He's available there, and they go with him. You finally have something you can build around in Charlotte. I think you go LaMelo and Devontae Graham in the backcourt. You start Miles Bridges. You start P.J. Washington, who you just drafted last year. And then you got Cody Zeller in the middle, who you really honestly could trade and try to find a younger center. But I do think it's very realistic that Charlotte could go with a big man here. That's why I don't have them a little bit higher on this list, because there's going to be some very elite big men available at 3, like a James Wiseman or an Onyeka Okongwu. So who is the best fit for the Charlotte Hornets? Let me know in the comment section. You can type LB for LaMelo Ball, type JW for James Wiseman, type 2 O's for Onyeka Okongwu, or if you got somebody else in mind, just comment down below. But that's my number 5 team, the Charlotte Hornets. Now, one very safe pick for you right now is to wear a mask repping your favorite team. Go to chatsports.com/NBA mask. You can get packs of 1, 2, 3, or 4 for great deals at Fanatics. They're continuously updating the styles of these masks, and they're continuing to keep you safe, keep you healthy, and keep those around you safe and healthy so that, number one, we can get back inside NBA stadiums, but also, number two, little side note, maybe we can get some college football here very, very soon. So all you got to do, wear a mask and get one that is repping your favorite team at chatsports.com/NBA mask. My number 4 team, the 4th best fit for LaMelo Ball, the team picking at 4th overall, the Chicago Bulls. Now, why does this work so well? I think this finally completes their starting 5 in Chicago. Because the Chicago Bulls have great players. Lauri Markkanen is an awesome power forward. Wendell Carter Jr., they just drafted him, a great center. Coby White is a great guard, but that is also part of the reason that this might not work, because Coby White might want to be playing that starting point guard role. When he was with Jim Boylan kind of played him at both guard positions, but Jim Boylan's gone. Chicago is bringing in a new head coach very, very soon. However, I think Coby White could very much benefit from having a pass-first point guard next to him in the backcourt like a LaMelo Ball. And that's why I have this team at number 4 on my best fits for LaMelo. Now, Coby White last year really found his groove at the end of the 2020 season before everything got shut down. In the last 10 games, he put up 24 points per game, dished out 5 assists, pulled down 4 boards, and shot better than 39% from 3. You can see those assist numbers are a little low for a guy you might want starting at point guard. So what I would do is move Tomas Satoransky out and move LaMelo Ball in and go with LaMelo Ball, Coby White in the backcourt. You got a 25-point-per-game guy like Zach LaVine at the 3 position, Wendell Carter Jr. in the middle alongside Lauri Markkanen, who, when healthy, can be an elite power forward. But let me know in the comments section, who is the best pick for the Chicago Bulls at number 4 overall? Maybe it's LaMelo Ball if he's there, but I think a Deni Avdija could also work really, really well, and he can step into that wing position for the Chicago Bulls or that 2-guard position as well. You move Zach LaVine to 2, you move Deni to 3, but let me know, who's the best pick for the Bulls in 2020? Now let's go to a team who I think is daydreaming about getting LaMelo Ball, and that is the Detroit Pistons. They're picking 7th overall in the draft. Here's why it works. Plain and simple, Detroit needs a point guard. They really need a lot of things, but they desperately need a point guard. They waived Reggie Jackson. They don't really have a true guy to handle the ball. The only reason that I think this might not work out very well is, well, number 1, he's not going to be available at 7. But number 2, you got to have more perimeter shooting around a guy like LaMelo Ball, who's just truly not a great shooter. So if they can find other guys to shoot around him, they're going to be just fine. However, Detroit has a young core kind of in place that they can at least build around, but they don't have that star. So you got Luke Kennard at 23 years old who's really come into his own. You've got Christian Wood at 24 who's probably going to be your starting center next year if they can bring him back in free agency. Svi Mykhailiuk is just 22, and he really hit his groove near the end of the season, but he's also a restricted free agent. Bruce Brown is becoming an elite wing defender, and one of my favorite guys from last year's draft, Sekou Doumbouya, is just 19 years old. And at the end of last season, when he got time, he looked really, really strong. So let's say you bring in LaMelo Ball. I think you start him at point guard. I think you have to start Bruce Brown instead of Luke Kennard at the 2 because he's a better defender, and LaMelo Ball is not a good defender. Now, they do still have Blake Griffin, but if they draft LaMelo and they get high enough to actually pick him, I think there's a chance that they look to move on from Blake Griffin, and you have a young core of LaMelo Ball, Doumbouya, and Christian Wood, along with guys like Bruce Brown and Luke Kennard off the bench. It's not great, but for Detroit, it becomes a starting point. And it becomes such a good fit for LaMelo Ball because he has all the power in the world to run this offense and hopefully turn this team back into a contender. That's what they need to be. They're not right now. They're nowhere close. They have a lot of time to build, and hopefully they can start building around a guy like LaMelo Ball. Now, at 7th overall, there's going to be other guys available like Killian Hayes, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey, and Cole Anthony, and those might be more realistic targets for Detroit. But if Detroit wants to start getting competitive right here, right now, and if they want a true point guard to kind of be their franchise player, that's what LaMelo Ball can eventually become in Detroit. I don't think Blake Griffin is the long-term answer there anymore. I think Derrick Rose will be on his way out this offseason in a potential trade, and they have a lot of free agent questions. Can they bring back Christian Wood? Will they look to bring back Svi Mykhailiuk? Or will they just build around a young point guard like LaMelo if they can get him at 7th overall. It remains to be seen. Now, if you guys want to know where all the top prospects are going, you want to keep up with free agency, the draft, and everything else that's going on in the NBA, you're going to want to subscribe here to Chat Sports. We got the best coverage, absolutely free for 365 days a year. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Hit that subscribe button right now. Help us continue to grow our NBA fan base. The number 2, the second best fit for LaMelo Ball, the Phoenix Suns. And my goodness, would it be fun or what to see LaMelo and Devin Booker in the same backcourt? Now, the reason this might not work out very well is because maybe Phoenix trades that number 10 pick. Maybe they package it for a more established player that can help them win right now, and they commit to a guy like Ricky Rubio. Now, I don't think they prefer that, but at number 10 overall, you're probably not going to have a good chance at LaMelo Ball. You probably have to trade up to actually go and get a guy like that. So again, with Phoenix, a guy like Killian Hayes, Cole Anthony, or Tyrese Halliburton might be more realistic targets if you really want a point guard. But Phoenix they've either got to trade 10 and get a good player back, or they got to hit a home run because their first-round picks have been so up and down. They drafted Jarrett Culver last year, but they traded him on draft night for Cam Johnson, who's been a solid player, but he's not like anything incredible. They drafted DeAndre Ayton, number 1 overall, who I think is amazing and gets a lot of undeserved hate. However, they drafted him before guys like Trae Young and Luka Doncic. That will always haunt this team. They took Josh Jackson 4th overall in 2017, who has not been able to stay in the league. Same with Dragon Bender, 4th overall in 2016, back-to-back absolute busts. And then they struck gold, of course, at the end of the lottery in 2015 with Devin Booker. Now, imagine, I don't think it's going to be possible. I don't think it's going to happen. But the fit here is absolutely perfect. If they can land LaMelo Ball, they have a backcourt of LaMelo Ball and Devin Booker. They have a future all-defensive player in Mikal Bridges. They have a super fun and exciting scorer in Kelly Oubre Jr. And they have a future elite center, at least offensively, in DeAndre Ayton. Not to mention they've got guys like Cam Johnson off the bench and even just some fun players that they can continue to build around, like a Dario Saric if they can bring him back in free agency. It's a perfect fit, but Phoenix at number 10 is just not realistic. It's probably not going to happen. And that is why I have them at 2 and not 1. But Phoenix made some noise in the bubble. They went 8-0. So now the question is, will Phoenix make the playoffs during the 2020-2021 season? Type Y for yes or type N for no. I mean, they're about due, right? They almost did it this year. Maybe they can sneak in next year. Now let's go to my number 1 team for LaMelo Ball. The best fit, the most perfect fit. It's the New York Knicks. Now listen, LaMelo Ball shines in the big lights. He's much like his brother Lonzo Ball. He wants to be in the big lights and nowhere bigger than Madison Square Garden and playing for the New York Knicks. They want him. They have made it very, very obvious that they covet him in the first round of this draft. But at number 8 overall, it's going to be tough to get him. They're probably going to have to trade up to get him. So again, just like our other 2 teams we just mentioned, guys like Cole Anthony, Tyrese Halliburton, and Killian Hayes are a little bit more likely. Now, the Knicks have 3 point guards on the roster right now, but all 3 are a mess in their own right. Elfrid Payton is just meh. He's never going to be the starting point guard on a playoff contender. Frank Ntilikina has not panned out, and the guy that was drafted 1 spot after him in the same draft, Dennis Smith Jr., has been a complete bust since being moved from the Dallas Mavericks to the New York Knicks. So it's time to go out and get your franchise point guard, but the only way they're going to be able to do it is by trading up for him. So how are they going to do it? They're going to call up the Golden State Warriors, say, hey, you guys don't need that 2nd overall pick, but we can give you more picks if you give us yours. So the Knicks here, this is my trade proposal. The Knicks trade number 8, number 27, and number 38 to the Golden State Warriors for the 2nd overall pick and a chance at LaMelo Ball. And then they swap 2nd-round picks and they get the 51st overall pick as well. I think Golden State comes out as a winner because they get 3 picks and they're all higher. And the Knicks are absolute winners because they get a franchise point guard in LaMelo Ball who can play in the same backcourt with RJ Barrett. He can play alongside Kevin Knox. He can play with Mitchell Robinson in the middle. Julius Randle as a scoring power forward. The Knicks can finally get excited. And I'll tell you what, LaMelo Ball looks a lot better than a guy like Cole Anthony in that backcourt alongside RJ Barrett. Now, I know Knicks fans are super excited about LaMelo Ball. Honestly, I am too. but I want to know from all of our NBA fans, not just the Knicks fans, which player in the draft, which prospect are you the most excited about? You made it here to the end, so I want you guys to shout it out. The draft prospect you're the most excited about this